Empress here with a new video and welcome to my new channel. Uh, this was an inspired idea, one that I'm really excited about. And so if you have any questions that you want me to answer, be sure to email me at empressanswers@gmail.com. I think I'm going to try to put that somewhere on this video. I don't know. Let me start off by saying that you look amazing and that it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video. And these just come when they're inspired. So sorry, not sorry, but now is a time, and I tell you, it's not the time that I would have chosen for my personal self, but again, I answer the call when it comes. So the call has come and I'm answering. So this video, it's a welcome to my new channel, and it's a question that I've gotten a couple times now since some of my videos going out on Instagram, which you'll find in the description below the Instagram link. That's kind of like the only social media avenue other than YouTube. I mean, I am on Twitter, I am on Facebook, I am on LinkedIn, but that's not like where I'm at most. It would be Instagram. Um, so so I get this question a lot about how to compromise and how we if two people or two groups or whatever the case may be, more than one party, right? If you need more than just yourself to opt in or agree or go along with, then this is for you. How do you compromise when, um, everybody sees it their own way? And, this is where, if I'm 1,000% honest, empathy comes in. Now, I have to say, being a Cancerian moon, or excuse me, sun, this is natural for me to be empathetic. Uh, some signs, like the air signs, God bless them, and even, Capricorn, my absolute, counterpart there on the astrological sign, they have to really work at empathy, right? It's not something that comes naturally to a lot of people. But so I guess maybe that's today's lesson. And of course, I'm going to use a real life example in my own life because words don't teach. It's life experience that teaches. And really, until you're at the crossroads living it, it's like, you want the information prior so that when you get there, you go, aha, see, this is kind of what she was talking about. Now I'm going to know how to navigate this. But the reality is, people can talk to you all day, and until you're living it, it doesn't really mean a hill bit of good for most. Some can get it intellectually, but again, it's life experience that teaches. So, empathy, the short term, the real down and dirty, because that's how I roll. Uh, ex- you know, Definition is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, which to me seems like a duh. Kind of like that no-brainer, like, hello, doesn't everybody do this? Doesn't everybody put themselves in the other person's shoes so that, i- they would understand? But no, that's not the way most, I'm going to venture to say, um, think. So here's a good example because, it's all about being better than we used to be, right? No one's perfect. You'll never get it perfect. You're never going to get 100%. And you don't get blue ribbons and medals when you do anyway, okay? This is about progressing, being better than you used to be even 2 minutes before, okay? That's the only criteria, is that you learn and you then improve and get better. You don't keep repeating the same karmic cycle again and again and again and again and again. So again, learning and growing and evolving and ascending it's till you take your last breath from your human carcass. Okay, so it's not like, again, you stop at some point. So if you're one of those people that are out there, sleeping on stuff, being like, I'll get to it at some other point. It's like, look, life is happening now. This is all happening now. You can make the changes now. You can experience the different reality now. What the hell are you waiting for? Okay. So I had a company reach out via Instagram, God bless them, and said, "Hey, we provide sportswear, kind of, leggings, tops, and we would love for you to be a sponsor, to be a partner and to wear our stuff and let us know what you think. And if you like it, put, a picture of yourself wearing it on Instagram." And so I'm like, hey, groovy, do my research and really like what they stand for, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, okay, great. And so then they send me, contract details, if you will. And this is one of, several contracts that I'm currently working on, right? It's one of these things Empress loves to do. Um, and I have to say I'm pretty decent at it too, because, this empathy thing I've got down. So I know how to put myself in other people's shoes. But, here's a good example of how shit goes awry even for me. So they reach out, they want to do this, and they're like, okay, so go online, pick whatever you want, and all you have to do is pay for shipping. And I was kind of like, shipping? I'm not going to pay for shipping. Like, you want me to wear your stuff and to, potentially promote your stuff, then you send it to me. Like, this is my first initial thought process. And so, believe it or not, my company's response was, we'd love to participate, but we don't pay for, these opportunities. And so, if you'd like to proceed, then you let us know. And God bless this person, right? Because, and this is a smaller company too, a very small company, right? Not huge, just getting going. And God knows we've all been there more than once. Again, speaking from experience, right? Um, so God knows I can appreciate that underdog, okay? My heart is, I've been there. So this person, again, divinely sent, because that's what always happens, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears, point blank. So, she replies back and says, great, I'm so thrilled that you're going to want to work with us. Here's the link, and here's, what you put in, and all you'll have to pay is shipping. Basically, just completely gray rocked me, which is, a slang term of just completely, in a lot of ways, ignoring what I had written and kind of creating her own reality. Okay. And let me also say that in her initial email to me, uh, she did not use the correct first name. I mean, not even anything close. I mean, it was like a Freudian slip, but nothing. I mean, she didn't say Shelby. She didn't say anything. And again, the intention though I could feel underneath was true blue. So that was it for me. So if my heart's in it, you're going to get 100% loyalty, and I'm in it to win it. And I'm a ride or die. So, so she replies back and she's like, great, here it is. Kind of like just completely ignoring what I had to say. And so it was interesting because when her response came back in, um, you know, good or bad, I'm 95% of the time in a non-egoic state, even when I don't want to be, even when I want to be um, an ego and a you know naughty. That's the word I use a lot. I remember a couple of a couple 100,000 experiences ago, I had to get an attorney, which is a whole nother video because I'm not really sure who the attorney was. I think even he would be perplexed as to who handled that. But at any rate, I digress. Um, uh, you know, I I don't get the opportunity. I'm just, I've done a lot of work on myself over these years and been through hell and back, a good couple hundred times. I mean, I'm not joking when I say that. So when I say Empress, I mean that is true blue. If you look up the Empress journey, it's, every path of the tarot deck up through the whole suit on all four suits. I mean, if you think about it in terms of just playing cards, and there's more than playing cards in the tarot. I think there's 72 and there's 52 in a card deck. But I mean, think about that. That's like 52 earth-shattering life experiences. Not a lot of people, are blessed to have a path like that. So at any rate, she completely gray rocks me and says, boom, here's the deal. And all of a sudden, in comes the knowingness of, okay, we're going to put ourselves in her shoes. She's a new business. She's reaching out to people to try to grow her business. If she, I mean, who's in the position to give away their product and the shipping? No skin in the game from you, right? This is, everything that I teach is, things have to be a win, 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 win in life. Or, not only is it not going to be a good experience, but there's karma associated with that. Okay. Because remember, you don't get to crap on anyone for free, ever, ever. So when you know this, then you tend to, not do it. And if you do, you've got your own scooper with you because it's like, if I'm going to crap, then at least I'm going to make sure you don't step in it because that's a twofer or a threefer coming my way, right? So, all of a sudden, this complete knowingness of, oh my gosh, I mean, she doesn't know if I'm really going to take the picture. I mean, here's the myriad of ways you can think about this. She doesn't know if I'm really going to wear the stuff. She doesn't really know if I'm going to put the stuff on, if I'm going to take a picture, if I'm then going to upload it, whether or not I like it, whether or not I like the fit. I'm very long-legged, damn near 35-inch inseam. So it's like, so how can she possibly, as a business person, give away free product and pay for the shipping 100% of the time? Like how does that make any business sense, any logical sense? I mean, left brain, right brain thinkers out there, you both would be like, I mean, obviously not, that doesn't make sense at all. So it does make sense, right? There is a meeting of the minds in the middle there where it's like, look, I'm going to give you the product for free. All you have to do is pay the shipping. And then I'm just going to trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do because I'm still giving you my product for free. Well, when you think about it, if you're them, it's like, now, see, this is a fair shake, right? This is fair. This is a win-win, right? She's not doubling her costs, like doubling down on the deal and mean nothing. It's like, look, if you can't pay for shipping, then that's no skin in the game. I mean, why would I send you the thing? Now, great, let me say this though, on the flip. I pay the shipping, I get the product, I like it, I put it out there. Things go well, then, I don't know how we negotiate going forward. But initially, to begin with at least, we've got to be both skins in the game, right? And then we can see how it goes. We can see what results it delivers. We can readjust as we go if need be. Okay, but there's got to be, we both have to be in it, in the beginning, at least up fully. Because how's anything ever going to take off if you're not. If somebody's half-assing it. I mean, why bother? Let's just call it, you keep your leggings and your workout gear and I'll keep my opinion about it and we just walk away. Right? So, I mean, it's not really all that difficult when you think about life from this way, right? You see those free offers and it happens a lot. Now remember, a belief is just a thought you think over and over and over again and then believe. And a habit is just something that you've done repetitively as well too. So, your initial response is just like mine was. But if you take that breath, I'm a huge fan of taking the breath, then that gives the universe a slim chance of getting in there and saying, oh, wait a second. Now, it just so happens that I waited a couple of days, like probably 3 days to even reply to her first email because I just have so much going on. And it wasn't a huge priority. So, it went down the list. And she followed up again, actually, if I'm 1,000% honest. She followed up a second time before I responded. She didn't use a name in the second one. But she did follow up again, which again, I madly respect, right? I madly respect. It's like, look, school me, right? If I'm out of line, then school me too. That is totally fair. And you know what? I have no problem saying, you know what? Touche, right? That was carrying on, right? Nobody has to do the dance. Right? Nobody has to be the NFL touchdown. Remember when they used to do it and then they're like, you can't celebrate. Nobody has to be all, spiking the ball. It's no, right? Touche. It's that good, that good camaraderie, right? There's nothing wrong in that. Keeps everybody honest, honestly. If everybody's playing at their top of the game. Nobody, especially myself, wants to play a game that not everybody's playing full out, right? So this was a teammate, God, love her, that she was like, look, and she probably, those were not necessarily her intentions, maybe they were, but that's how it came to me. So it's like, look, I hear it loud and clear, and you absolutely right. And, when the universe tells me the finality address that I'm supposed to have those leggings sent to, then I'm going to reach back out. So I definitely had to share that story because, again, people think, and maybe even you, that it's really difficult to come to a meeting of the minds. And if that were true, then it could never be done, and it's done all the time. So, at some point you have to be like, the common denominator in all of my problems is me. And so maybe if I just adjust me instead of trying to fix all these other things, then, right? Remember, you're the maestro in the symphony. I talk about that a couple videos ago, but it was on the other channel. So, we're moving onward, no going back. Even when it's good, right? Even when it's good, you keep going forward and you speak it from there. So, another good lesson. The third little thing that I'll end with, and I don't know why I'm inspired to talk about this, but I am, so I'm going to, is, so, where I'm staying, it's very, let's use the word earthy. There's a lot of natural vegetation, a lot. And then if you envision the most tropical of the Hawaiians, right, which is magical when it comes to lush and green, but when it comes to creatures, there's all kinds. Um, and see, I'm not afraid of, I'm not really, I'm not afraid of much, honestly. Not, and I don't say that vainly, but when it comes to creatures, I have mad respect for Mother Nature. Like Gaia and I are like this. Okay. She my sister. So, you know, unless I have to, girl doesn't kill things. I do still struggle with cockroaches. Not gonna lie. Um, but I use these plugs that put out a frequency that they just don't like, so they don't come around me. So what I just do is make sure that I just have those around, and then they just don't come around me. And so again, then it's peace in the valley, right? But the lesson that I want to share is this natural instinct to want to kill things that we don't. I'm going to use the word like, but I'm using that word very generally because, just because you don't like something doesn't mean you kill it, right? I mean, again, let's go back to that empathy lesson earlier, right? If you don't like a person, you cannot just kill them, okay? And God knows, girl, have thought about a couple times in her life. I'm not going to say I haven't thought for a nanosecond, because again, if I think about something too long, it happens, and that's so. Uh, so I was getting ready to take a shower the other night, and in the bathroom was a spider. Now, spiders are Lakshmi to me. She's the abundance gal, right? We're like this. So, I said, let me just start off by saying, okay, and I'm not exaggerating. This spider was about the size of the palm of my hand with its legs out. Okay, belly was big. It was a brown one. She was the wood spider. I mean, totally harmless, but frickin' big, respectable big, like damn near want to bow down big. So I slid open the shower curtain, and there it was, and I was like, "Girl," that's exactly what I said. It's like, "Girl, we're gonna have to talk about this because you'll jump and see. I like you and all, but you cannot be jumping. Like that puts me on edge a little bit. So girl can't shower with you in here. So we're going to have a meeting of the minds on this because we know I don't want to kill you. And let me just say that the flip side of this, at least for me, is not a lot of living things actually fear me. So it's like, here I'm trying to like nudge her and she's not moving because it's like, she knows I'm not going to hurt her. So that's doubly, triply hard on me, right? Because it's like, God, they know my vibe, I would never hurt them. So, you can't take advantage of that, right? You cannot take advantage of that, something that precious, right? And that genuine and pure. So I had to think about what I was going to do about this, right? Because I need something where I can't get horribly close because if it jumps, then I'm going to panic, and I don't want that for me or the spider. I'm just telling you how I'm thinking. So there's a gentleman that's staying here, and I say to him, there's a big spider in the bathroom. And he says to me, I'll give you my slipper, which is a flip-flop here in Hawaii, right? Everywhere else in the country, probably the world, it's a flip-flop. But here in Hawaii, they're slippers. And I was like, but I don't want to kill it, right? I mean, she's not doing anything wrong. And honestly, because it's the bathroom and this is Hawaii, and they don't put fans in their bathrooms here. Like, every other part of the country, you turn on the light and the fan go on at the same time, okay? Because it pulls out the condensation. Well, here in Hawaii, you just have windows. You hope. Because some places they don't even have that, right? It's just a big sweat box. But they don't have fans here. So it's like, she's in there getting the bugs that come in for the humidity. So we want her. She's doing a job, right? And hence, this is where another little lesson on this, if it's here, it's doing a job. right? Because the divine does not make mistakes. So rather than be out to kill something, it's a much more advantageous route to find out how to coexist with it happily, where again, a win-win-win-win, right? Where the bug or the whatever gets to keep doing what it's really good at, and you get to live and or exist alongside that happily too. That is possible. Or else these things would not be here, people, right? There is no mistakes. I don't know where we kind of got off kilter, like, I mean, the neighbor across the street, God bless them, just bought a property, and it was, completely untamed for years. And so they move in, or they haven't moved in, but they buy it, and it's like, they got to clear this land to see what the hell they're dealing with. And so I think it was yesterday or the other day, it's like, bug spraying company came out, or it wasn't bugs, but, like killer company to kill weeds, I'm sure. And it's like, my heart just yelps because we're like a quarter of a mile from the ocean. So the rain, and it's like, there's so many other ways to go about these things. But I digress. That's another video. Of course, that's another 20 videos. But anyway. So this spider, big spider, big. 90% of the population would have screamed, thrown something at it, definitely would have wanted to annihilate it. I was like, we've got to save you. I'm seeing holes in the ceiling, in the, like, where the trim doesn't quite, line up 100% because, I love Hawaii. This is my homeland, but construction here is done on a wing and a prayer, folks. Okay, you can build your own house here, and you could be a contractor, and you could do as good a job, if not better than most. I'm just saying, you, for $19.99, you. No shade to my contractors out there. I do love you all, but, having lived around the country, it took a long time for this girl to acclimate to how we roll out here. Now I'm in it, right? So now it's like, I'm OG. But boy, it was like, whew, the princess and the pea for a while. It's like, wow, this is a whole other way of doing things out here. Gotta pull my sleeves up. I like it, So, at any rate, so I explained to this gentleman here, it's like, okay, I'm going to think of another solution. And mind you, he was going to take a shower after me. So, he's he's really invested in what I do, because if I do something that, let's just say, like, leave it there, then he's got to deal with it potentially. So, he's kind of like, okay, whatever you decide, right? That's kind of what people around here say. It's like, you're the boss, whatever. So I decide I'm going to get a crutch. There's a crutch. Don't ask why. Just go with the story. I find this one crutch that I've used several times in the past. It's another video, and it's not a real working crutch. And by that I mean it's got the arm protector to, like, put underneath your armpit, but the end is just the metal. There's no nubby, right? So being tiled around here, everything in Hawaii is kind of tiled floors. You'd slip or crack the tile right away. So it's not like, I'm using something, not that I need to explain that, but I just thought I would. So I go in the bathroom, and I've got this long crutch, which is a kind of like extension of my arm. So I know my energy is extending right through the end of the crutch. So this spider is going to totally know, even at the end of this crutch, that my vibe is such that, I mean it no harm, right? Because things that are around you, that especially that you're holding, they're just extensions of you, right? So I've got the crutch. And so I go up to it, and of course it doesn't move again, because it's like, hey, friend, high five. And so I'm saying to it, I want you to just kind of move out of the shower. Like, I really don't care if you go to the other side of the bathroom, because I know you're not like moving at the roadrunner pace here. This is more the hair of the turtle in the hair, or excuse me, it's more the turtle. So I kind of knew that if I got her out of the shower, that she would just stay parked somewhere else. So I use the crutch and I just kind of follow behind her. And so she kind of moves and then she looks and then and then she moves. And so it was just kind of like this, okay, okay. I could almost hear her saying, okay, okay, okay. And so she goes around the corner and then I just left the crutch outside the shower and was like, look, I'm going to intend that she stay over there. And when I'm done and he's done with the bathroom, then she can come right back in and collect any bugs that want to come in for that condensation and that steam. And 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 so if I have to move her again, I have the crutch. But otherwise, I'm done with this. So I take the shower, I get out, and I explain to him what I did. And I said, I'm going to leave the crutch for you too. And he's like, okay. Seemed very kind of like, it's kind of like that child wonder. I tell you, children, if you can think like a child, you've got it made because they just do what their heart tells them is the right thing to do. And that's always the right thing to do. People don't ever want to use their heart because then they're vulnerable. Then they may feel things. Quite honestly, then they may get hurt. But this is why we have so many problems in the world is because people are completely, I mean, I do feel inspired to say this, so I'm going to say it. But the heart is the joy muscle. So you wonder why there's so many heart attacks. I'm just saying, women, it's the leading cause of women death is heart attacks, heart disease, and that's joy that they don't have. And so your heart, that's the first thing that'll go when you're not happy, when you don't have joy. So it's critical. I mean, it's critical that we get back to the basics here. And, if you lead with your heart, not only will you be joyful and not only will the world open up to you, but you'll always do the right thing 100% of the time. Now, it's not always easy, girl. I'm going to tell you it's easy. It's not easy. In fact, I'm going to be honest, it's way harder than sticking the screws to somebody and just joining that evil, angry, dark energy. I'm not going to lie. It's way easier to do that. But there's repercussions for that, right? We have to remember that. We have to remember that. I don't know where we got off the track that, you get to, social media does have an anonymity to it where people are kind of like, rah, rah. You can put any profile picture you want. You can, you can be whoever you want online. And so it's real easy to throw the shade that you would never have balls to say to someone's face. Unless you're me, because I only say something I'd say to your face. But not a lot of people are like that. It's like, they're all big and puffed behind the social media profile. Because it's like, it's just they and them. But if all of a sudden that hand came through and was like, what? It'd be like, oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And see, that's the rub right there. Because, who you are is who you are. Right? You can't be situational. Not and do well, not and live happily and healthily, right? The scales of justice, they just won't balance in your favor. They just will not. So the real beautiful thing about this story with the spider is not only did we both get our showers and she was left to do whatever she wanted, but in the morning, he made sure to tell me, hey, Shelby, the spider isn't in the bathroom anymore. I was like, see? I mean, who knows where she is? She could be underneath the bed, for all I know. The fact of the matter is, it's like, she's not bothering us. And he seemed very changed by that experience, because it was like, again, not because anybody's evil. It's just the first inclination is, I don't want this here, so I'm just going to kill it, annihilate it, remove it. And remember, the karmic scales, there is no judgment. You can do whatever you want. Free will is always at play. You get to play this video game any way you want. However, right, there's a comma, however, in all bold print, all caps, comma again, there are consequences. So don't forget that, right? You know, I used to always tell my son 100% of the time, whenever he left my presence, right, whether it be to go to school, to go to a dance, to go hang out with friends, my words to him were be good. Two, be good. And of course, I love you because, I mean, I said that a trillion times a day, but be good. Now, what does that mean? It's whatever he deems that to be, right? Let your own true north be your guide. Whatever be good means to you, you do that. That's it. If you do what feels good to you, I'm all for it. And I encourage you. It's not, you know, don't do drugs, don't you be having sex before you, don't do this, don't do that. Don't. It's be good. And you decide what that means. I'm not the judge and jury. You are. Right? The karmic wheel, honestly, here's a little tail ender bonus for those that have watched all the way to the end. The karmic balancer is all tuned into you, right? So when you feel like shit for something is when it gets corrected, right? This is where, you know, again, some people get twisted or really confused when I say things like, you know, I'm for the hustler. I'm for the son on the front lines, knowing he don't get to run because they're lined with their truth. It's not up to me to say, you know what, that's not a good truth. You know, Empress doesn't think that's a good truth. The United States of America doesn't think that's a good truth. The Russian government doesn't think that's a good truth. Who the hell are y'all? I mean, if we think back again to the participant, it's you and the universe. It's you and the universe. There's no person, place, or thing in between you and that. Right? If there were, then we wouldn't have people who could commit crimes, quite honestly, right? They are light, and this is why some people honestly never get caught because they are so aligned in their truth, in their knowing that that cannot be rebuked. It cannot by anyone or anything. So this, you know, uh, this is where, you know, this is where it's a real eye-opening moment for people, right? We can guide. We can guide. We can lead. And I pray it's by example, right? Because that's the best way to lead is via example. Because again, people can't argue with what you do. They can argue with what you say, but they cannot argue with what you do. So when you lead by example, it's kind of like, well, all right, you know, head down. I'm just gonna get in that parade because it's they's leading. And I want to go where they're going. And I quite honestly, I don't want to be in the one in the front with the machete getting hit in the face with the branches. Right? It makes me think back to a leadership event. You know, it's this natural thing that I have that just kind of lead. You know, if there's ever jury duty, I'm always picked as the foreperson. I'm always the one picked as the one that's like, oh yeah, you do it. You know, you you get out there. Yeah, yeah. What she said. Yeah, yeah. Let her say it, right? Let her get the cow pie thrown at her. And then so we're on this leadership retreat. And I was over it, to be honest with you. You know, this crab has to go into her shell after a while and replenish. And so if girl is on for, you know, 15 hours straight, the claws come out. And so then we're on Empress time. Okay. And quite honestly, even the divine will concede and the waves get parted for Empress time if it comes to that. Just saying. The waves do get parted and the divine will make way for Empress time. So we're on a leadership retreat. And it was like this 4 mile hike, which we all know I have no problem doing the hike, but I'm with this pack of people. And, you know, I tend to be, the morale of the group and the humor a lot of the time. So, I try to stay in the center of the pack there and kind of keep both ends flowing. But my God, this pace was just, I couldn't hang. I couldn't hang. This 35-inch inseam could not hang. So I was like, whew, front, boom, we're going. And so again, the thing that people don't realize, it's kind of like, when you're in unison, if the front person goes fast, you naturally just fall in line. It's almost hard to fall back when the leader is moving quickly. There's just a natural tendency to keep up, 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 to keep up. And there was this like barbecue at the end of this trek. And I did not wear, because girl is not a hiker, girl is a walker. So I was wearing hiking shoes with like regular cotton socks. All I know is I remember I had blisters beyond. I mean, my feet were killing me. So again, there was another urgency to get me to the end because I was physically in discomfort, which is not a good combination. So we're going, and people are just, they're laughing. They're just like, we need her to do this. We need her to be in charge of this. It's like, wow, if she were doing this, how much faster we would. So we get to the end, and the leader, right? Because you always have a guide on these things in case you run into the brown bears or get off the track. And we get to the end, and the guy looks at me and goes, well, we've never finished this fast before, so I don't know what to do now because the barbecue isn't for another 2 hours. I'm like, I'm going home. I mean, this has been real. But if we get done early, we get done early, right? I mean, I'm not hanging out for no barbecue. And as soon as I said it, was like, oh my God, yes. Like, shit, make a barbecue at home if you really want a barbecue. Girl needs to get her feet fixed, okay? I need a bath. I need to go recuperate and rejuvenate. And I was, it was in California, so I was carpooling, obviously, because you can't get anywhere in California if you're not a carpool. So of course I had been carpooling there. So my gal that I was carpooling was like, God, I love riding with you. Anytime we do anything, man, we are in and out. It's like, look, time is promised to no one. And me and time are, I mean, best friends. Like I quadruple time. Forget triple time. I like quadruple time. It's like time will collapse on itself for me to get things done. So I was like, look, you need to step aside and let's get this done. And then of course, like I said, we get to the end and people just don't know what to do with themselves. Well, that's a good thing. You just found 2 hours in your life. Boom, gift. What are you going to do with it? So I don't know. I hope today's lesson in empathy, in putting yourself in the other person's shoes, in looking at things from a slightly different perspective, right? Make friends with those that are pushing the envelope, right? They'll teach you. They'll teach you, right? That hustler, he knows so much. He knows so much, and he knows how to get past you. And that's very good information, right? I don't know, what's that old saying? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I mean, you never want to think of anybody as an enemy, but it's like those that know more than you, that's an asset, right? You keep them close because, I mean, let's just be real. If we're going to use our left brain, right? Get out of your fuzzy feely. You don't want to be on the other side of them, right? I mean, it's like, if I have to pick which side of this discrepancy I would want to be on, right? The one who I know knows, or me who may or may not know and can waver at times. They don't waver, but I do. I don't know, that's someone I would want on my team. It's like, look, I want to learn from you, right? Teach me, because That's all right, and especially, you know, especially when, like with my legging girl, I mean, her intention is pure. So it's not even like, not that there's a risk with the hustler. I don't think there's a risk even, totally befriending the hustler, but you don't have to untrain any kind of negative trait, right? Negative tendencies. I've talked about this before. It's, you know, this legging girl, she's kind of pure out the gate, right? That makes it so much more refreshing. It's like, wow, it's like a soft pillow to kind of land on, right? You don't have to sleep with one eye open, wondering if they're going to slit your throat at night. They're not. That spider knew I wouldn't. Knew. So it's like, do with me what you will. Show me where you want me to go, and I'll go because, heck, I want to coexist too. And I know you mean me no harm, so come unto me. And that's a very beautiful place to be, right? Because then everything can happen. Everything can happen. You know, it's that come unto me, right? Never, I'm not a religious person. And again, whatever you believe is totally right for you. But you'd ever see a picture of Jesus like this? Hands up, what do you want? It's always come unto me. It's always hands down at his side, come unto me. The kids come running up, that's my natural stance. It's like you don't ever see me do this. It's like, hey, it's always come unto me. Right? Physical body language is very, very powerful. And, I don't know why we're making life so damn difficult, right? People tell you everything they need to know. Just look them square in the eye and they'll tell you everything you need to know because the eye is the windows to the soul, right? It's the windows to the soul. That's what always trips me up in this 3D is I can see right to the soul. I see past all that negative, right? So it's a dance for me I see the dark, I see it, but I see the light more. And so, that's why me and the divine, me and Mother Gaia, I have to have my friends out there that help because, I can see the other side always. And it's a curse and a blessing all at the same time. So keep doing what you're doing because you look amazing. The weather is held off because I have to get some laundry on the line now. See, like I said, this was not a time when I really wanted, Empress person really wanted, ego wanted to do this video, but it was when Divine was like, all on deck, sure, cue the Empress. This is the time. It's showtime. You must go, right? It's kind of like, I don't know if y'all remember the Gong Show back in the day. I mean, it was kind of before my day too, not to be dating myself, but girl, just, you got to have a knowledge of all the realms there. But the Gong Show, for anybody who's really young, you'll have to look it up. And then when you see it, maybe on YouTube, there'll be an episode. You'll be like, wow, that's like just after TV went color. But if an act was bad, you got the gong, and then they had a hook, right? Like a lamb hook. Like little Mary had her little lamb and that big lamb hook. And they would literally like pull you off the stage, right? Like get rid of this clown. They're just, no good. And it's like, who's got time for that? Let's just focus on what's going really well and, pray you find someone doing better than you. And then they can show you the way, right? Because that saves you so much time and effort. And maybe I've showed you a shortcut when you're dealing with your next, experience, especially one where something is free. Somebody's worked hard. And somebody went through a lot to get where they are, even if it's leggings, even if it's hustling, right? To get that craft perfected, to get it out to market, to be able to sell it for one full day without getting caught, to be able to put that money on the table. However somebody does it, you got to applaud that person. And if I don't like that word, but I'm going to use it for conversational sake, they're doing it in a way that's harmful, because I can't say right or wrong, right? I mean, I know we have rules and all, and it's not that I don't abide by rules. Maybe that'll be a next video that I do, because I'm all about the hard topics. Okay, do not be thinking I'm going to steer away from any of these easy peasy topics. You can go anywhere for that. I'm here for the hard stuff, the stuff that, makes your sphincter go like, ooh, is she really going to talk about that? Yeah, I'll talk about that. Remember, empressanswers@gmail.com if you've got a question. But, people are brilliant. And, should they go a little sideways, you guide them back with light, not with an iron fist, because they'll give you the finger. And honestly, rightfully so. Because it's like, who are you? You don't know where I've been. You don't know what I've had to do. Right? It may be easy for you, but it ain't been easy for me. So, recognize we have to meet people where they're at. And again, when you give someone the option of a lighter option, a more light-filled, a more heart-filled, a more love-filled option, they're going to take that every time going forward. It's not something you have to beat or succumb them into, because it just feels so damn good, right? It feels so damn good. So, I can promise you that guy will never kill another spider unless he has to, because he's been shown another way. Not out of force, not out of, beratement, or, God, you would kill it, what an ass you are, but out of, let's try this. And then it's like, will that work? And then it was like, wow, that felt great. And you could tell that spider was appreciative. So it's like, damn, next time I'm just going, if he uses his slipper, it's going to be to nudge it, not to smash it. And that was one time. And he'll have it for life, I bet. One time. Darkness couldn't teach that in 100 years. So, as I've said many times before, stay strong, right? Light will always prevail over darkness, 100% of the time. So stay strong, stay knowing, stay believing in your own truth, and we'll see you soon. I love you.